The city pulsed with the quiet hum of rain, a steady rhythm against neon-lit streets. Keanu Reeves pulled his coat tighter around his frame, his boots skimming over puddles as he made his way down an empty alley. It had been a long night, one of those nights that felt heavier than the rest, where the past crept too close, whispering in the spaces between thoughts. He exhaled, his breath curling in the cold. Then he heard it, a frail, broken sound, so small it almost disappeared into the rain. He stopped. Keanu turned his head, scanning the darkness. And then, half hidden beneath a dumpster, he saw it. A tiny, shivering kitten, barely more than a wisp of fur, its body limp against the wet pavement. Its golden eyes flickered open, weak, struggling, as if it recognized something in him. His chest tightened. Keanu crouched, his hands careful as he lifted the fragile creature. She barely made a sound, her body unnervingly light. "You're okay," he murmured, though he wasn't sure if he was telling the kitten or himself. The rain dripped from his hair as he cradled her close to his chest, feeling the faintest rise and fall of her breath. He had to get her inside. In his dim apartment, the golden glow of a single lamp cast long, stretching shadows. The kitten lay wrapped in a soft towel on the couch, her breathing slow, her tiny body fragile as glass. Keanu sat beside her, one hand resting near, watching, waiting. A deep unease stirred in his gut. Something about her, about this moment, felt impossibly familiar, like a song he had once known by heart but could no longer remember. A soft knock broke the silence. Keanu blinked. He wasn't expecting anyone. He hesitated before rising, crossing the room with quiet steps. The moment he opened the door, the air inside the apartment seemed to shift. Standing there was a woman, tall, striking, with sharp green eyes and dark hair tied loosely behind her. "Mr. Reeves," she said smoothly, though there was something edged in her voice. "I'm Dr. Elara Voss. I need to talk to you." His hand gripped the doorframe. "It's late." She glanced past him, eyes catching on the kitten. "I know, but it's important. It's about the cat." Keanu stiffened. "What about her?" Dr. Voss took a slow breath, her gaze unwavering. She shouldn't exist. The air inside the apartment had thickened, charged with an energy that made Keanu's skin prickle. Dr. Voss stood near the couch, staring down at the sleeping kitten, her expression unreadable. "I don't understand," Keanu said, his voice low. "What do you mean, she shouldn't exist?" Dr. Voss crossed her arms. "This isn't the first time you've found her." A chill swept through him. Keanu shook his head. "That's impossible." She glanced at him. "Is it?" And then the weight of something unspoken pressed into his chest. A memory, not quite clear but lingering just beneath the surface. The scent of rain. The weight of something small in his hands. The feeling of loss so sharp it hollowed him. "I don't believe you," Keanu murmured, though his voice had lost conviction. Dr. Voss exhaled. "You don't have to, but tell me this. Why does she feel familiar?" The kitten stirred. A tiny sound escaped her throat, a purr, soft and steady. And the moment Keanu heard it, something inside him cracked open. It wasn't just familiarity. It was recognition. The shadows in the room seemed deeper now, stretching unnaturally. Keanu felt the pulse of something shifting, time unraveling at the edges. And then a presence. Not Dr. Voss, not the kitten, himself. Keanu turned sharply, and there, standing near the window, was a figure. His own reflection, yet not quite right. A flickering, translucent version of himself, watching, waiting. His breath hitched. The apartment walls faded into something older, something before. Rain soaked the ground beneath him. A small body in his hands, a whisper of a promise made in another life. "I'll find you again." The ghost of himself tilted its head, sorrow pooling in its dark eyes. "You remember now." Keanu's grip tightened around the kitten. Lumi. Her name was Lumi. A second chance. A life lost, returned. The shadow of himself began to dissolve, fading into the air like mist in morning light. Dr. Voss stood silent, observing, understanding. Keanu exhaled, something fragile and aching settling in his chest. He looked down at Lumi, warm in his hands, golden eyes unblinking. She had come home.